Good afternoon. We've recently been playing a lot of retro formats on the Duel Masters America Discord server. Our most recent one was set 1 through 5. Today I'm going to go ahead and share the deck that I wanted to bring to that event. It's going to be Light Water Fire Control. Unfortunately, I was unable to bring it due to being short some Magma Rexes at the time. But to begin, we have the 4-lot Giga. This serves a couple purposes. For one, it just helps you live early against controls, and it's some Evo bait for some stuff you'll see later. Plus, late game we do have Mischievous, so it doubles as a draw engine too. Similarly with Emerald, very good late game once you have Mischievous out. And it just helps set up triggers, guarantee you live against these aggros. Because there is a good number of aggressive-oriented decks in the format. Next up, as you would expect with any blue deck of this format, you have your 4 Aqua Hulkus. It's the best, most efficient draw of this format. And then here's one that I'm contemplating changing. I've got the 3 Magris and 2 Dianork. I want to switch this way to 3 Dianork, 2 Magris in the future. I believe I have enough draw between Hulkus and Mischievous where I don't need the 3rd Magris. And Dianork, albeit on paper, is pretty bad. The 5k body on turn 4 allows you to set up your Searing Wave and Magma Rexes against Spark Whip players. If you have this out on turn 4, most likely that Bark Whip player might not be swinging with his Bark Whip, basically, so his Bronze Arms aren't going to be buffed to 3k. His Crow Wingers aren't going to like 4 or 5, since you probably would have a Hulkus or Emerald by that point. So that you can use your Searing Wave to wipe the board, or your Magma Rexes will hit their Bronze Arms and their Emeralds. Next up, we have the 3 Mischievous. Strongest draw engine in the game, honestly. Plus, it doubles as Evo bait, since we are running Guardians here. Next, I've got the 2 Coral. Not much to say here. Just good removal. Especially if late game against an aggro and they're just top decking like a Crow Winger or a Torcon, stuff like that, you can just put it back on top of their deck and just sit. Next, here's our removal suite. I've got the 4 Searing Wave and the 4 Magma Rex. I want to go down to 7 of these. I don't know which one I want to cut yet, so I'm just playing with 8 for now. It also helps my red count, because it doesn't have that much red in this deck. Here's some more triggers. We've got the 4 Surfer. Not much to say about Surfer. It's very strong in shields when you set it up with Emerald, but even late game it's a decent just play to get rid of a threat and make them replay it. And then we have the 2 Holaya. Not much to say about Holaya. We can get pretty wide since we have Mischievous, so once we have a big board, we can Holaya, clear the board, and just keep stalling until we have a bunch of weenies out. Lastly, here's the bigger cards of the deck. We got the 2 Ladia Bale and the 2 Twin Cannon. Ladia Bale, with the 9500, it could trade over stuff like Crystal Lancer, basically anything. I can't think of too much in this format that it doesn't attack over, unless you count stuff like Alcadius, but anything relevant this can swing over. Plus it is a blocker, which sometimes does come up when walling. And of course, Twin Cannon, not much to say about Twin Cannon. You typically wait to have like a Ladia Bale, some weenies out, then you summon a Twin Cannon, break 2 with Twin Cannon. If no triggers, break 2 with Ladia Bale. And then you should be good to clear off with the rest. It's treated me pretty well so far in my testing. Of course, with the curve the way it is, it has some inconsistencies, but it normally makes up for that by having a lot of 2-for-1s. As you've probably noticed looking at other decks in this time period, there was a lot of cards that die to these. Almost everything dies to Searing Wave that's played. And Magma Rex with the 1k body, it hits Locomotiver, Torcon, Emerald, bunch of other random stuff here and there that you'll see in a lot of decks. And there's a lot of cards that die to this. Stuff like Colon even. So I've tried to minimize on my 1Ks. The only 1Ks I'm running is Emerald, which can also help set these up. Magmarex sometimes feels a little rough against Park Whips because they start buffing their stuff, but you'll at least hit like an Emerald or a Unicorn Fish. Or if you had the Dianork the turn before, you could potentially get all those Bronze Arms and Torcons as well. I'll eventually go ahead and share a few other decks that I've built for this format. During our most recent tournament, I ended up bringing just the Water Nature Beastfolk. Ended up placing 4th, which I felt it did pretty well. Unfortunately, I really wanted to run this deck, so